This is Robert Karua with the news on Zodiac. The headlines. Finance Minister presents the 2021-2022 national budget, paged at 1.9 trillion kwacha, down from 2.3 trillion. Some feels it is unattainable. Faith-based organizations enormously agreed to unpack radical actions to trigger Malawians become proactive in narrowing inequality gaps. MDF calls for concerted efforts towards building peaceful Africa. And in sports, Flames coach Meke Mwase names a 24-member squad to face Tanzania for a strength testing match. Minister of Finance Mr. Felix Mulusu has presented the 2021-2022 national budget paged at 1.9 trillion kwacha, down with Minister of Education getting the lion's share for the third consecutive year. The Education Ministry has been allocated 327 billion kwacha, seconded by Minister of Agriculture. Among the notable changes in the taxation policy is beneficiaries and classification on pay as you earn tax. For details, here's Chimome Badata.
In the 1.99 trillion kwacha budget presented to Parliament, government has introduced new policies which the ministry says are aimed at cushioning lives of Malawians. These include introduction of duty-free week, scrapping of 17,000 kwacha water connection fee, as well as removing 10% duty on importation of raw materials. These were among campaign promises for the Tonse Alliance. The budget has seen a lion's share of 327 billion kwacha allocated to the Ministry of Education, followed by 284 billion kwacha to the Ministry of Agriculture. Half of the agriculture budget allocation has gone to implementation of the Affordable Input Program. The AIP allocation is lower than the 160 billion kwacha allocated last year, and consequently, the number of beneficiaries of the program has been trimmed to 3.5 million from 4.2 million. The Ministry of Health has got the fourth largest share at 187.2 billion kwacha. That allocation will, among other things, be used to rehabilitate all district hospitals of the country. Minister Mulusu, in his statement, indicated government plans to activate operations of the mining sector. In that regard, he reported the Reserve Bank has already purchased gold worth 140 million kwacha through the introduced structured market. This is a second budget of the Tonse administration, and as expected, it is drawing mixed reactions. Whether the minister has succeeded is balancing expectations and economic realities. Time will judge. For Zodiac, this is Chimwemwe Padata.
Meanwhile, Democratic Progressive Party spokesperson of Finance and former Finance Minister Joseph Mwanamveka has described the budget as unattainable.
I haven't seen it in the budget, any recovery. Of course, the minister has talked about that there will be recovery, but in the budget he has not put measures that are going to help to do that, to achieve that recovery. It's not there. I thought he would do, because he has mentioned that the issue of recovery, there's issue of job waste creation, there's issue about job creation. He has not mentioned there. And even how the 1 million jobs will be created, it's not indicated in there. So I think your guess is as good as mine. I don't think the budget is going to achieve the 2063 agenda, because according to the budget, it's not speaking to the 2023 agenda.
And still on budget issues, the National Planning Commission, NPC, has called upon members of Parliament to take a leading role in the implementation of the country's development blueprint, Malawi 2063, by scrutinizing utilization of budget allocations by government ministries, departments and agencies. NPC Director General Dr. Thomas Mutali made this call on during an interface with legislators at the Parliament building in Lilongwe. Enlightening, as legislators will be making informed decisions as they discuss the 2021-2022 national budget statement. Organizations have enormously agreed to unpack radical actions to trigger Malawians become proactive in narrowing inequality gaps existing between the poor and the rich in education, health and extractive sectors. At a stakeholders workshop on fighting inequalities in social sector organized by Malawi Economic Justice Network May in Lilongwe on Friday, it has been revealed that 10% of the richest populace in the country consumes 53% of the total national resources. This Livingstonia Synod of CCAP Lilongwe Parish Priest Reverend Nasi Chunga and Major Executive Director Betha Piri calls for radical action to close the gap. Details with Grace Kombe.
A recent survey by Malawi Economic Justice Network Megin on economic status of Malawians revealed that 10% of the richest population in the country consumes 53% of the total national resources. This means that the majority of Malawians are struggling to get a share in the remaining 47% of the national resources allocated. This, according to Megin Executive Director Betha Piri, compelled the economic think tanks to engage a wide range of people, among them faith-based organizations, because of their influence on their followers.
They voice out, okay, it would be easier for people to listen to the faith because because of the social appeal and the social voice that the church and the faith leaders play.
Livingstonia Synod of CCAP, Lilongwe Parish Minister Reverend Nasi Chunga, laments that the country continues to lose huge sums of money through unchecked projects in councils, which he claims could be used in improving the well-being of the poor people.
There are people who are benefiting from a system, because this system, we see that monies are being lost and very little action is taking place. Therefore, we see that there are many people who are benefiting from this system, and the Malawians who continue to suffer. And when we talk about the pro-poor budget, we don't see its effect on the poor.
Taking her turn, former legislator, also a board member for Church and Society of the Livingstonia Synod of CCAP, Loveness Gondwe, says it is time sound policies were implemented to control illegal mining activities that are currently benefiting few individuals and foreign nationals.
Because I love my country and seeing these foreigners taking an upper hand than a Malawian, that means that Malawi doesn't belong to Malawians. It's either the country has been sold silently, or maybe, I don't know, if you have got a government which is just silent and we are looking at things going, it's not on the mining, or you can agree with me that a lot of prime land in the cities has been sold out to foreigners. Look where you can find a Malawian.
Megin is implementing a 5-year Fighting Inequalities in Social Sector project aimed at empowering groups of people for action in improving education, health and extractive sectors. This is Grace Kombe for Zodiac.
Governance experts have questioned government's decision to reinstate council controlling officers and DCs without making public outcomes of an investigation that led to their interdiction in the first place. The DCs were interdicted for neglect of their role in plunder of COVID-19 funds. Professor Mustafa Hussein and Sheriff Kaisi say failure to make the report public is a clear demonstration that the Chakwera-led administration is lacking transparency and accountability in its dealings. John Pokayuni picks up the story.
When the 6.2 billion Kwacha COVID-19 funds audit report was submitted, President Lazarus Chakwera promised to make it public for Malawians to see. To date, Malawians are still waiting. Thursday, government reinstated council controlling officers who were interdicted in connection to the funds. This has surprised governance experts Professor Mustafa Hussein and Sheriff Kaisi, who say it was prudent for government to release the report first before reinstating the interdicted officers, saying this is an indication of lack of transparency and accountability. Professor Mustafa Hussein says government rushed to interdict the officers, which may have legal implications.
The situation begs soberness on the part of government, following procedures, ensuring transparency and accountability. The report should have been made public. People should know, make comments.
That one was not made for the president himself, but rather for the public to know exactly how their funds, 6.2 billion kwacha, was expended.
On his part, Sheriff Kaisi says the development attracts questions on the Chakwera-led administration's commitment in fighting corruption.
By just keeping that without disposing it to the nation, to the general public, I think that is one of the questions that we are asking. This is an indication that probably the Tonsi government is not ready to deal with corruption issues.
But government spokesperson Gospel Kazako told us yesterday that government was guided by relevant laws when making the decision. 34 council controlling officers, including district commissioners and chief executives for city and municipality councils, were interdicted in February to pave way for investigations into alleged abuse of COVID-19 funds. For Zodiac, this is John Paul Kayuni.
You're watching the news here on Zodiac. We'll be back with more after this.
Ikolole kungonjezera mayunitsi atnm kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tikolole promotion. Koma mukaonjezera mayunitsi ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira mabonus oyimbira foni, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you. Like every mom, you want the best for your child.
Happy birthday.
You feed her mind and nurture her body. And you understand there are times you have to let her pick herself up when she falls. You make sure she knows the joy of sharing happy moments with family. And when everything comes together, you above all others will share the taste of success with her. Blue Band tastes like mama's love.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Welcome back. Here are the top stories again. Finance Minister presents the 2021-2022 national budget paged at 1.9 trillion kwacha, down from 2.3 trillion. Some feels it is unattainable. Faith-based organizations enormously agrees to unpack radical actions to trigger Malawians become proactive in narrowing inequality gaps. MDF calls for concerted efforts towards building a peaceful Africa. And in sports, Flames coach Meke Mwasi names a 24-member squad to face Tanzania for a strength testing match. Moving on, the Malawi Defence Force MDF has emphasized on the need for men in uniform in the SADC region to be working together towards building a peaceful Africa while protecting their countries. MDF Chief of Staff Major Mkungula was speaking in Salima Friday at the graduation of 19 junior command staff, saying security is a collaborative approach. Meanwhile, one of the graduates from Rwanda, Major Eric Sebera, says the course and sharing of experience among its men in uniform is vital in building strong security.
Like another course, we are looking forward to have properly trained officers who are going to be able to take up their responsibilities in their respective headquarters, whether joint, maritime, air force or army, and be able to train and lead their soldiers, and we expect them to improve the capabilities of their soldiers in whatever assignments they are given.
As a government, Malawi, we are saving in terms of money because mostly we've been sending our officers outside the country, whereby we don't just send these officers for free. They have to pay some tuition and also other associated logistics in terms of maybe transportation, upkeep allowance when they are outside there. But when we run these courses here, the accommodation is free, and then the logistics in terms of feeding, it's within normal our ORT, and we just plan normal the way we can plan any other operation. So
Northern Commissioner of Police Richard Luhanga has encouraged female police officers in the region to be champions of gender-based violence. Luhanga was speaking when the women gave a report on their 3-day Pasadi operation, which among others is meant to promote equal rights in the workplaces and end gender-based violence. From Zuzu, Toera Kumwenda reports.
The Northern Region Commissioner of Police Richard Luhanga has asked that women in the police service be champions of change. Luhanga said female police officers are well respected in society. As such, they have the capability of assisting victims of GBV as they can be trusted more by the society. Luhanga was speaking this when the representatives of the Northern Region Women Police Chapter marched from Karoro Brown to Northern Region Police Headquarters to present a report of their Pasadi operation. He has since also asked that girls should be more forthcoming to take up positions that seem to be dominated by males. Just a brief, the Pasadi operation is a 3-day operation where women are meant to work and empower or take up positions that seem to be of more male dominance. So the vice chairperson for the women network in the Northern Region, Gift Kambili, has said that they are impressed with the way that they have conducted the past 3 days, and as such, they would advise that more girls take up these positions. I can just say that the march from Karoro Ground to Northern Region Police Headquarters was peaceful. It was quite sunny here in Zuzu, but everything went according to plan. And also, I can say that in the 3 days, the women police have managed to conduct patrols, traffic controls, as well as arrests, and they finalized it with a campaign march against GBV.
And in Kasungu, Noah Nkubi reports.
Dressed in their official uniforms, female Malawi Defense Force, police and prison officers marched around the streets of Kasungu municipality, carrying placards condemning gender-based violence. They joined forces for a common cause of promoting children and women's rights through awareness messages during the parade. Chairhead of Kasungu Female Officers Network, Sub-Inspector Delvin Koma, told Zodiac that the activity was the climax of the Sadik Pasado operation, in which female officers are assigned special tasks to demonstrate their capabilities. She observed that for a girl child to attain her dreams, she needs a self-empowerment, hence quoting the public to protect and respect the rights of women and children in the district.
So we do it to sensitize mostly on gender-based violence.
Central East Police Region Senior Prosecutor Superintendent Burton Sawyer warned the law will take its course against perpetrators of domestic and gender-based violence.
We are concerned with this gender-based violence because we have seen that our young girls are being traumatized with the developments that are taking place. We are seeing that the young girls, they are stopping their education. We have seen that they are having children at their tender age. As a result, their bodies, they are not ready to carry the pregnancies, and as a result, they have a lot of diseases like fistula and so many diseases that they incur from the viruses that they take from this.
For Zodiac, this is Noah Nkubi, Kasungu.
The Nice Public Trust has urged government and other stakeholders to make the prevention and redress the violence against women and girls a key part of the national response plans for COVID-19. Its Executive Director, Olen Mwalwunji, spoke in Lilongwe on Friday during the launch of a UN Women Spotlight initiative aimed at raising awareness on the elimination of all forms of violence against women and children. The initiative comes following continued reports of cases of violence against women and girls in the country and in places where they should have been normally safe. And in sports, Flames coach Meki Mwasi has named a 24-member squad to face Tanzania in an international strength testing match scheduled for June 13 away in Dar es Salaam. Mwasi has maintained most of his trusted troops, with the only new name in the squad being Cyprus-based Tawonga Chimodzi, who last played for the Flames in 2012. The team will go into camp on Monday, 31st May 2021. Still in sports news, the Malawi Police Service has demanded immediate action from Blue Eagles Football Club's authorities for the side to claim its status as one of the powerhouses on the domestic scene. Assistant Commissioner Dr. Gif Chiundira, who also chairs the National Police Sports Directorate Board, told Zodiac on the sidelines of Executive Committee elections on Friday that soul-searching is required urgently to turn around the club's misfortunes. Meanwhile, Alex Mngwale has been re-elected chairman to lead the club for another 4 years. And that's it for now. As we go, let's take another look at the headlines. Finance Minister presents the 2021-2022 national budget paged at 1.9 trillion kwacha, down from 2.3 trillion. Some feel it's unattainable. Faith-based organizations enormously agreed to unpack radical actions to trigger Malawians become proactive in narrowing inequality gaps. MDF calls for concerted efforts towards building peace for Africa. And in sports, Flames coach Mike Mwase names a 24-member squad to face Tanzania for a strength testing match. Visit our website, zodiacmalawi.com, for more news. My name is Robert Karu. Thanks for watching.
Shout.